I have something for you today, which you might say is almost sad in a way. This might be the saddest, most pathetic, most embarrassing interview that Fox News host David Asman has ever done. And I've been watching David Asman on and off for decades at this point. The interview I'm going to play for you has the feel and the vibe of the North Korean state media broadcasts, from how biased and sycophantic it is to the dear leader, which in David Asman's case is Donald Trump. Fox decided to interview Georgia Republican Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger, who is a vile voter suppressing pro-Trump Republican who has become an enemy of Trump because he has said, listen, I can't just steal the election for you. And that was even too far for Brian Kemp and Brad Raffensperger. So David Asman brings on Brad Raffensperger and frames up a question for him that seems like a North Korean state media question, framing up a question about how it really doesn't seem like Biden even could have won because Biden was in the basement and Operation Warp Speed was so great. This is a reporter from the supposed news side of Fox News. Listen to the frame up on this question.
Folks outside of Georgia and outside of the highly contested states saying, look at these numbers. Joe Biden got 12 million more votes than Barack Obama on Barack Obama's best election. I mean, how is that possible? He spent the whole campaign bunkered down in his basement, not saying much at all. The president has had enormous successes with the economy, with Operation Warp Speed, et cetera. How could he have done 12 million more votes than Barack Obama? That's really the overall riding question in most people's minds. Again, the people who are out of the weeds, unlike yourself. You can understand those questions, right?
Well, I do.
Just imagine that. Asman claims, most people who aren't in the weeds, most people are thinking, I don't know. I mean, Biden was in the basement. Trump won with Operation Warp Speed and he won with the economy, and Biden gets 12 million more votes than Obama. Must be fraud. That's the average person that Asman is pretending exists. Now, those people do exist, there's no doubt, but it's about half of Trump voters. It's not most people in the United States. Here is Brad Raffensperger, to his credit, saying that this is the truth. Joe Biden got more votes and some people can't handle it. Biden did win.
And people can't handle the truth sometimes because they're very disappointed in the results. And I get that. I voted for President Trump also. But at the end of the day, we did everything that we could. We did an audit of the race. President Trump still lost. Then we did a full recount. President Trump still lost. Then we audited the absentee ballot signatures of the envelopes and Cobb County, and we found only 2 votes out of 15,000 that we went ahead and surveyed, along with GBI, only 2 out of 15,000 that were done correctly. And they were actually the spouses that filled out those applications for their spouses or signed the signatures. And so we have a safe, secure process, and people have to realize that you need to get out and vote, and that's how you win elections.
Getting out and voting is how you win, which brings up a real question about whether telling Georgia Republicans that the elections there are rigged is a good way to get out the vote. And by the way, notice that in his answer, Brad Raffensperger does basically agree with the premises of the question from David Asman, but he says the numbers just weren't there. Raffensperger says, it doesn't really make sense. I mean, Biden was in his basement. Trump did great with Operation Warp Speed. I supported Trump, but we just couldn't find the votes. Not enough people turned out. So even in his answer there, still conceding a bunch of the framing of the question by David Asman. So there you have it. And this is, I mentioned this earlier, one-upmanship battle. I expect that once Trump finally leaves office, we are going to see OAN and Newsmax, by virtue of their wild reporting, push or drag some aspects of Fox News to become even more radicalized to maintain an audience. That's my expectation. We'll see if it comes true.